Hello students, I am Dr. Tanmoy Vishwas. I welcome you all in my channel Chemistry, the Mystery of Molecules. So today we are going to discuss a interesting topic, that is Sharpless asymmetric epoxidation, or it is also known as Katasuki Sharpless epoxidation. Okay, so this reaction is nothing but metal catalyzed allylic alcohol to epoxide conversion, better to say stereoselective epoxide preparation. Okay, so this reaction we use tartaric acid or its ester, better to say its ester, and peroxide. So we will discuss this topic. First of all, the basic thing, role of individual reagent, why this is stereoselective, what is the importance of this reaction, what mechanism. So a lots of things we'll learn in this lecture, so please watch until the end. So let's start. The most important part of any reaction, any asymmetric reaction is corresponding previous examples, better to say, means why this reaction is important. Isn't there any other alternate method or easy method? Obviously there is, yes, but for example in this case epoxidation could be achieved both way. One is electrophilic epoxidation and another is nucleophilic epoxidation. Electrophilic epoxidation means the oxidation, or actually epoxidation is nothing but a kind of oxidation, the oxidation of this double bond in presence of a electrophilic oxidant or electrophilic peroxide species, in this case this peroxide linkage. Okay, so more the double bond will be electron rich, reaction will be facile. Okay, so this is the thing. So this is actually, you can consider that this is nucleophile, this is electrophile. Okay, but if the reverse thing happen, for example if you take alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, this thing, these double bonds are not electron rich, actually electron deficient, and then how the reaction will happen, because electrophilic epoxidation cannot possible. And second thing, if you do this MCPBA mediated oxidation, it will result in ester, Baeyer-Villiger oxidation. By the way, I have uploaded lectures about these three topics. For example, epoxidation of alkene using this MCPBA. Second, this method, that is hydrogen peroxide, sodium hydroxide. Here the main epoxidizing species is hydroperoxide anion, and this act as a nucleophile and this is act as a electrophile. So that's why this is called nucleophilic epoxidation. I have discussed this thing with a separate lecture. I shall provide the links on the I button, please visit. And additionally I have also uploaded lectures about Baeyer-Villiger oxidation. I suggest you please visit those lectures. Now what we have learned from this discussion, first of all, one electrophilic epoxidation possible, nucleophilic epoxidation possible, both way, electron rich as well as electron deficient alkene, both could be done. But by the way, this such type of alkene is called Michael acceptor. I have already discussed previous video about this, you may visit for better learning. So this Michael acceptor, so we have discussed, we have figured out or developed methodology for two type of conversion. So why we need another method, for example Sharpless asymmetric epoxidation? This is because they are not so good stereoselective. Okay, and question you will think that why, sir, why this stereoselectivity is needed? Actually we know that natural product, medicine, many case we use asymmetric products. Actually better to say nature, human body, everywhere only the chiral product are preferred. I'll say preferred, not exclusively, but it is preferred. So we need a method which result in stereoselective epoxidation. Okay, so this is the main disadvantage of this method, is they can't produce a particular stereoisomer in enantiomeric excess more than 90%, and that could be done using this Sharpless asymmetric epoxidation. Okay, so actually what we are discussing here, we are discussing mainly here the chiral synthesis. Okay, And when we are discussing chiral synthesis or asymmetric synthesis, then we need to keep few points essential. That first of all, chiral environment is essential. What do we mean by chiral environment? Chiral environment means already some asymmetric or chiral molecule is there in the reaction medium, which affects the interaction of the molecule and the catalyst. So what happens? Interaction of a molecule and the catalyst from a particular 3D orientation. 3D orientation is favored. Okay, and that is the reason for enantiomeric excess. Okay, so that is the reason. So results in actually for consequently what happens? This enantiomeric excess means it results or it preference one isomer over other. So we get ultimately enantiomeric excess. So in this reaction, because we told that this is actually a selective reaction, better to say stereoselective epoxidation. So consequently, what is the chiral molecule we are using for our reaction? That is tartaric acid. Now a simple question, that we need to do this reaction in our lab. Fine. For that we need another chiral molecule, but the human civilization is developed, for example, you may consider 1000 years like that. I'm not sure exactly how many years, but a very long time after that human appeared. Question then, how the first chiral molecule came in? Because we need to prepare the chiral molecule in order to do chiral catalysis. Simple we think, but when we get the first chiral molecule, actually that thing is answered by the blessings of our mother nature. Why I call nature as mother nature? Because whatever we need our mother can fill. Still similarly nature have done the same job. Whatever we need we can get from nature, and actually mother nature is nothing but a chiral pool. Means here you can get many chiral molecule because the nature is chiral in nature. So from where we can get the first molecule tartaric acid? Obviously from nature. But not only nature, we have some our contribution too, which I shall discuss during the discussion. So I always what message I want to give by this slide, that mother nature is curing us so much. Second, it is so superior scientist that it already prepared chiral molecule before us in a stereoselective manner. So how much efficient scientist mother nature is. So please respect nature and care the species of nature. Okay, so let's go. How to prepare this tartaric acid, which is the main thing. Actually, the stereoselectivity we are getting only because of tartaric acid. Okay, if you don't use tartaric acid, the reaction possible, but stereoselectivity will not achieve. So the interesting or key interest is tartaric acid. Now, as I told previously, that mother nature provides us the chiral molecule. So what tartaric acid we get? Actually, we know that three type of tartaric acid possible: D-tartaric acid, L-tartaric acid, and mesotartaric acid. So when we say, by looking at the formula of tartaric acid, you can say that it is a dicarboxylic acid with 2 hydroxyl. Okay, so that means you may consider it's a carbohydrate type molecule. So you may consider this is a carbohydrate. So what do we think? That in nature D sugar is natural, like D glucose. D sugars are natural. So that is the main mistake you may end up. In this case, actually the L-tartaric acid is natural. Okay, so this part produces naturally, and this is the chiral pool. Question, where this is produced, from where we can get this? We can get this, one of the example is wine industry. Okay, in wine industry, as a residue we can get the potassium salt of tartaric acid. Okay, K plus, and the means monocarboxyl, let's say dicarboxylic acid, mono acid. Okay, so K plus salt. Now we understood this. Now simple question, in our reaction, if we use a particular isomer, we will get a particular stereoisomer. Now we find the problem of L thing is sorted out. So for our requirement, if we want to get the another epoxide, then we need the D-tartaric acid. Question: how to get this D-tartaric acid? This could be done by human modification of the system. Better to say that is still from nature. So what you can do, you can take chiral epoxides. Okay, so you can take chiral epoxide, and that chiral epoxide could be reacted with enzyme microbes. Okay, and this microbe is selective epoxide to diol preparation. Okay, so selectively we get products selectively. If you know further details, actually this is beyond our scope or current video, but if you want to learn more about this topic on enzymatic catalysis, you can visit this reference I have provided, these molecule papers, so you can have. So this means there are two different kind of microbial species who have two different kind of enzymes where the sequence of amino acid is different. That's why they result in the reactivity. Means if you take a mixture of chiral epoxide, this, and you put that microbe into that system, that microbe will selectively consume a particular isomer depending on its nature, and ultimately product result in the selective thing. Okay, so means whatever we are, so what is the sequence? So first we are taking this alkene having dicarboxylic acid, then it is converted or oxidized, use it to corresponding epoxide, and generally potassium tungstate, one of the example that used for the oxidation, as used as a catalyst for the oxidation to make this chiral epoxide. Okay, and another thing, see these D-tartaric acid and this L-tartaric acid, okay, they are optically pure. By the way, another interesting information, which is why I'm saying this is L and why I'm saying this is D. See, from below, if you look at this hydroxyl group, this is in right side. Okay, actually in my mother tongue Bengali, that is, we consider right means dandik, so that two words you can resemble, but okay, whatever. This in Hindi you can say dahine, so that thing you can resemble with D, so that is the reason it's D, and the other one it's a left thing, so this is left. Okay, so for English you can keep for English people you can keep this, that this hydroxyl is in left side, so this is L, so another one is D. This could be a mnemonic device to remember which chiral tartaric acid will be which, and optically active tartaric acid will have hydroxyl opposite to each other. Okay, and another in variety of tartaric acid, that is mesotartaric acid. This mesotartaric acid is actually optically inactive. Why? A plane of symmetry can pass. This is the plane of symmetry. Okay, so this is the plane. This is actually let me write plane of symmetry. So you can use, but you will not get the stereo selectivity. So this is not useful for us. And actually for this reaction, what we are using in this work is actually the ester of tartaric acid. The ligand is actually the 2-hydroxyl group is coordinating to the titanium will come, and this carboxylic acid directly has no role. That's why we take ester. You can take methyl ester, that is DMT. Okay, you can take ethyl ester, which is known as DET or diethyl tartrate, and another ester is used, that is isopropyl ester, which is known as diisopropyl tartrate or DIPT. Okay, so this is the source of ligand which is mainly responsible for the enantiomer selectivity. So let's discuss about the role of other reagents. For example, if you look at this allylic alcohol, this is nothing but, this is actually our substrate. Okay, substrate. And another interesting part, these epoxidation, Sharpless epoxidation is active for allylic alcohol only. So this allylic alcohol part is the advantage as well as the limitation of this method. And there are some methods which directly epoxidizes alkene into asymmetric epoxide. We'll discuss later on. Fine. So this is the substrate, and in this case this is the hydroperoxide, or better to say tertiary butyl hydroperoxide, and this is actually the oxidant for alkene to make it epoxide, because ultimately we get epoxide. Okay, I'm not mentioning about the stereoselectivity. And what happened, this terminal oxygen is shifted here, and ultimate, what is the fate of this tertiary butyl peroxide? It is tertiary butanol. Remember that peroxide species are very reactive, okay, and actually they are not that much stable also. Why? Because in peroxide there is oxygen bond, and we know that oxygen has lone pair, so there is a significant repulsion between these oxygen, and that's that's the reason its instability, and this factor known as alpha effect. Actually this makes them good nucleophile, means it is the reason for their excessive reactivity. And another point is that oxygen is a highly electronegative atom. It prefers to remain in -2 oxidation state, whereas in this peroxide it is -1. But after reaction, what happens? This tertiary butyl alcohol, this is also oxygen -2, and this epoxide also -2. So you can think that this is actually acting as electrophile, and double bond is actually the nucleophile. So from here we can understand that electron rich double bonds are more active than electron deficient, and this reaction we can also consider as electrophilic epoxidation, okay, like the MCPVA mediated reaction which we have discussed sometime before. Fine. Okay, so another thing, what is the role of this titanium means ester, tetra, titanium isopropoxide or ethyl or methyl, whatever this, what is the role? This act as a catalyst, and actually it works as a dimer. I'll discuss after some time. And this provides the chirality and coordination site for allylic alcohol and epoxide together. Basically what this titanium side is doing, this is acting as Lewis acid. So this is acting as Lewis acid. So for what happened, and actually the tartaric acids hydroxyl coordinates to titanium, and similarly titanium is in actually +4 oxidation state, consequently it's highly electron deficient. So not only this tertiary butoxide, this allyl alcohol also coordinates with the hydroxyl. I will show everything in details. So it's a Lewis acidic catalyst which provide coordination site for both epoxide and the allyl alcohol, such that they can come closer in a particular stereoselective fashion and undergo stereoselective epoxidation reaction. Okay, fine. So this, and fourth important, that is a tartrate which you use. Actually in reaction what we take titanium alkoxide, means TiO4 means it's an alkoxide. So along with that we add this tartrate, and what happens, this alcohol is monodentate, and this tartrate, which is actually the ester this tartrate, actually this is a bidentate chelating ligand. So they replace means one molecule coordinates to one tartrate coordinates to one titanium, and two alkoxide removes, and for after that the active catalyst is generated in situ in the reaction medium. This titanium tetraalkoxide is not the active catalyst, it is a pre-catalyst. Okay, so okay, fine. And actually because of the tartrate, which isomer we have taken, that directs what will be the product in our reaction. Okay, so let's discuss the mechanism in details. What happens actually in overall reaction, if we think that under all the reaction condition, this oxidation occurs on the allyl alcohol and resulted in both above and below. Okay, and ligand is this, and actually for example there are two types of epoxides, two types of tartaric acid ester, better to say. One is active variety, another is meso. In case of meso, reaction possible but no stereoselectivity. Okay, so we will not consider. Then a simple question, in active variety of tartaric acid, these two hydroxyl group are opposite. So how they coordinate as a chelating ligand? Means chelating ligand means it will coordinate to the same side. Okay, how this happen? Because of the CC rotation. So CC rotation is the important factor. such that these two hydroxyl come same side and ultimately they can coordinate to the titanium 4 plus. Okay, fine. So that thing you can observe that this part is one tartrate ester, similarly another, they are actually opposite to each other. Okay, and question another two, this is one alcohol and this is means alkoxide, one alkoxide, and where the tertiary butoxide and alkene, better to say allyl alcohol coordinates, see here, this is the tertiary butyl peroxide and this is the allyl alcohol. Now just you can visualize that, see, this oxygen and the alkene is closer. Okay, and that is why this oxygen shifted here and ultimately result in any epoxide depending on the nature or stereochemistry of the tartrate ester we have taken. So this is the strategy. In this way you can visualize actually how the reaction is happening. Okay, so conclusion of this discussion, that titanium act as a Lewis acid, okay, provides active center for coordination of tertiary butanol and allyl alcohol and ultimately result this. By the way, you may have a confusion that why, sir, this tertiary butyl group is apart from the alkene, because in order to avoid steric repulsion. Okay, so in order to avoid steric repulsion, this is away from the alkene. Okay, now let's discuss about the prediction, because the most important point based on my understanding of this reaction is the prediction of the product. Means based on our choice of reagent we can prepare our desired epoxide. Okay, so there should be a mnemonic such that we can predict, okay, if I take this reagent I will get this epoxide. Is it really possible? Actually it is possible, and this is the biggest advantage of this process. And by the way, interesting point, if you take the L-tartaric acid or actually L-tartrate ester, then you will get epoxidation from bottom side. Means as I told previously, L-tartrate is natural. You can remember the story, natural, and it results in reaction at bottom part. Okay, or you may think a story, means it's my personal understanding, that if your thoughts are natural, if you have enough logic, spirituality, understanding, you always try to keep your feet on the ground. You may think many you can think many things. You can think that sky is your limit, but your feet always remain in the ground, and that is a very important factor for a good human or successful human for a long time. Okay, and another thing, this D part, this epoxidation happens from the above. Okay, so another way, this is what I told, this is fine, the story. How to remember more easily? See, L-tartrate, L means low. Okay, low or below. So low means low side epoxidation. Okay, and the other one is D, that should be definitely above, because double bond has two options, one is below, one is above. Okay, now an interesting question, we have understood that the epoxidation will happen which side, and some means excess enantiomer selectivity you may observe, but how much enantiomer selectivity we used to get from such kind of reaction? Because when we deal about enantiomeric excess, we expect generally that the enantiomeric excess should be greater than 90%, and that is generally considered as a good stereoselective reaction. Good stereoselective reaction. Okay, now question, do we get in this case 100%? No, but near about 100%. The enantiomer selectivity of this reaction is greater than 90%, and that is the biggest thing. Okay, this reaction is so selective. Fine. Okay, now let's discuss about few examples in order to clear the understanding, and I suggest you please be careful while reading this example, because such examples can result in MCQ construction. I can make many MCQs from this example, so it is highly expected that you people learn the examples properly, such that in exam you don't feel any obstacle or difficulty. Fine. So see, this is actually a allyl alcohol. Okay. So okay. Okay, another thing I forgot you to say. Originally, Sharpless thought that these are the bulky groups. Okay, so in this way, if you arrange the alkene, then ultimately you get above and below. That is the Sharpless prediction. But for your exam perspective, if you don't keep this thing in your mind, then also no problem. Okay, ultimate product will be like that. Fine. So this is allyl. So what you are showing, this is actually a allyl alcohol. So it undergo epoxidation under Sharpless condition, and what it produces? It produces, see, in this case, tertiary butanol as an oxidant, 5 mole percent titanium isopropoxide and 7.3 mole percent DET. Always, based on my understanding, you will always observe that the catalyst amount is always less than the ligand amount. Question why? Such that all the catalyst could means actually this TiOR4 is a pre-catalyst. It converted in presence of DET, for example diethyl tartrate, to the asymmetric catalyst. Okay, so the asymmetric catalyst which is responsible for this enantiomeric excess. Okay, so if you take little excess of DET, you can ensure that no titanium 4 plus remains which is not coordinated by DET. So all the catalyst or titanium center in the reaction medium is surrounded by the chiral environment. So it will result good enantioselectivity, and that is thing you can observe that in this reaction what we obtain 93% enantioselectivity. And just look at that, we have taken plus DET. Okay, plus means L, okay, minus means D. Okay, so plus means L, so epoxidation will happen at the bottom part. Fine. Okay, and another thing, in the other reaction, see, just everything is same, means this tertiary butanol isopropoxide, sorry, this should be OIPR, isopropoxide, ligand, everything, but the asymmetry of the ligand chain, see, this is minus DET, and we know minus means above, and that's why this. And just look at, in both case the enantiomeric excess is here 93%, here 92%, means greater than 90%, and that is the uniqueness, means changing ligand you will get completely different product, but enantioselectivity is very high. See, that is highly interesting. Okay, another example. See, in this example I have provided a 2 double bond, and actually they are not conjugated. Careful, this is a sp3 carbon. Okay, so where the reaction will occur? Actually in this case, always remember the reaction is directed by the hydroxyl, means the double bond allylic to with respect, means the double bond which is allylic with respect to the hydroxyl will undergo reaction. Why? See, look at this example, that oxygen coordinates here, and closer double bond is in close proximity with this this tertiary butyl peroxide, so epoxidation occurs, other double bond cannot do the same. Okay, so in this case only epoxidation will occur at this position. Another thing can occur here, very difficult, because this methodology is only specific for allyl alcohol, not simple double bond. So reaction occurs here. Now question, why again, why above? See here minus DIPT. See, previously DET means diethyl tartrate, it was a ethyl ester. Right now DIPT means diisopropyl tartrate, it is a isopropyl alcohol ester of tartaric acid. And another interesting point, look at solvent is DCM, reaction condition minus 25 degree, and ultimately we are getting 90% yield, and here 86% enantiomeric excess. That's a fairly good. So you can say this reaction is mild and selective. Okay, so this is the interesting point of this procedure. By the way, till now we are discussing about very easy example. Okay, now question, if we use chiral allylic alcohol, then what will be the thing, and this thing we'll discuss in the next lecture. But let me give you a very very low hints, that is, for example, chiral alcohol means, see, this cyclohexyl is above side, hydrogen below, here completely different, and everything is same, means the tartaric acid is also same here. In one case we are getting fast reaction and one case slow reaction. Okay, and another thing, the stereoselectivity is also difficult. Where the reaction is fast, it results in better stereoselectivity, okay, than the other, better stereoselectivity than the other, whereas here the stereoselectivity low. So what does these three information number one, fast and slow, second is this stereoselectivity part, these means that this reaction is selective for particular chiral molecule. So what is the advantage of this method? It's a very advantageous. You can do chiral resolution by chemical reaction. Okay, we know that there are very different methods of chiral resolution. When we have for example, you have a 50-50 mixture, so this is 50 and this is 50, through a chemical reaction where you will use this butoxide 0.5 equivalent. We need actually 1 equivalent for 1 equivalent, 1:1. If we take 50%, then one particular reaction will, particular stereoisomer will react, for example this one, other will not. So that is a chiral resolution through chemical reaction. That's a very interesting topic which we'll discuss in next video, that is chiral resolution, means chiral allylic alcohol resolution. Okay, fine. So from today's discussion, what you have learned? We have learned that selective epoxidation, that is stereoisomer preparation or enantiomeric excess, could be obtained under milder reaction condition, means 25 degrees centigrade thing possible in this reaction, and in this case tartaric ester is responsible for the enantiomeric preference or asymmetric synthesis. The asymmetry of tartaric acid is the responsible factor for this asymmetric synthesis. Final. Another thing, chiral epoxide could be used as a synthan and they could be separated because of this method. Another thing, means one point chiral tartaric acid, another thing chiral synthan. So both thing could be utilized, both strategy by this reaction, and in this case peroxide is the oxidant and titanium 4 plus act as the Lewis acidic center for this process. Okay, so this is the overall discussion of today. I hope you have learned a lot. Thank you for watching this video. If you really like my teaching, I request you please like the video such that I can understand you people really like my teaching, and say your opinion, if it is good, bad, anything in the comment box, such that it helped me to understand what's your response. And finally, if you think it's worthy, then share with your friends such that they can also enjoy the benefits of my effort. And most importantly, if you think my work is deserving, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get the notification of every single video I upload. So till now, stay happy, stay blessed. See you in my next video.